Hey everybody, this is Jared with Stampede Blue. This is your Indianapolis Colts post-game wrap. Before we get going today, if you're on Instagram or Twitter, please hit me up with a follow. I'll try to follow you back. And then also, if you would, subscribe to my YouTube channel down below and hit that bell and you get more notifications. And you know me, I post all kinds of football content. The Colts are 9-7 and still alive for the playoffs. Playoffs? The Colts are in a win and in situation. If they win in Jacksonville, something they haven't done a lot lately, they still go to the playoffs. Um, Obviously, there was a lot going on today leading into this game, and I think that there were a lot of overwhelmingly positive things that happened, and most of those overwhelmingly positive things happened before kickoff. And if I started a conversation with you about an outcome and I told you that almost all the things positive that could have happened today in terms of this football team and organization happened before the ball was kicked off to start the game, you'd believe me when I told you that the Colts lost the squeaker, right? The Colts had a bunch of players that they weren't anticipating going to be available today that suddenly became available today, including their starting quarterback, Carson Wentz. Organizationally, they spent the entire week preparing Sam Ellinger to start at quarterback, and then as of this morning, they, realized that they were going to have Carson Wentz available. I think that affects your play calling, your game plan, and as a result, the Colts were super predictable in their play calling. I charted their first 5 first downs, and they ran the ball on their first 5 first downs. When you establish those sorts of predictable patterns early in games, you become easy to defend. And that paired with a lot, Eric Fisher ends up being out. So, I've told you before, in my opinion, on offense, the most important positions on the field are the center and quarterback and the backside tackle. Basically, you can't take those back shots. You can't you can't get hit blindside in the back a bunch and have like a decent career, because that shit hurts. When your muscles are relaxed and you're not tense, and you take that kind of contact, that's how you just break bones and get injured because you're gonna fall funny, because you're gonna fall fast. As opposed to seeing the contact coming, bracing for it, tensing a little bit, and absorbing some of the shock with your muscles. Um, when your left tackle goes out, it affects your brain as a quarterback. And when your game plan is predictable, your personnel are inconsistent, which the Colts, like I said, had a bunch of players that weren't expecting to play that suddenly were going to be able to play today, even though they hadn't been at the facility and hadn't been practicing. They've only been participating in Zoom calls. That includes Carson Wentz. It showed you when Carson Wentz had some open opportunities today, he was not as accurate as you need a quarterback to be in week 17 of an NFL regular season on a team that is still alive for the playoffs. And I think that the reason that Carson Wentz wasn't quite ready today really is because he wasn't vaccinated, right? Because if he's vaccinated, he has a lower probability of getting COVID in the first place, which means that he likely doesn't pop on this COVID test. He practices all week and he's a little more accurate today. Because if there's a knock on Carson Wentz, it's that he's been inaccurate, specifically when he's throwing to open guys. When he gets to step into a throw and he knows it's open, he's great. But when he's got to make a play with the football, he's been inaccurate, and it's going to be a familiarity thing. It's the thing about look at guys like Ben Roethlisberger and the success that he's had. Well, he's been with the same organization for like 17 years. Obviously, Carson Wentz has had sort of a rough ride in the NFL so far. This is his sort of getting to start over. It is his first year. Chris Ballard said it was an eval year. And a game like this, which I saw as completely winnable, I think that the Colts getting all these players back on the day of the game is actually a bad thing. And then you kind of see it. The Colts got sacks and they got turnovers on defense, but you only scored 20 points on offense. And then it seemed like while at certain points the ball did bounce the Colts' way, it never really seemed to fully be in the game. Didn't seem to be in the Colts' favor. It always seemed to be like the Raiders are turning a corner. And then of course, really what I think was probably best for the Colts to happen late in the game was that was a touchdown late, and the Colts get the ball back 42 seconds to three timeouts, you have a decent opportunity to go down here and score and equalize, maybe push it to overtime, and then give yourself a coin flip chance to win it, right? Instead, they call back the touchdown. They end up keeping the ball and running out the clock and kicking a field goal to win the game. I mean, you saw it if you watched it. But that's how the Colts lost this game. Because there was just too many what I would call like mitigating factors. There was too many things happening, positive. There are overall positive things that are negative on game day, right? Imagine meeting up with a bunch of people in person, and you learn that you learn this play, right? And over the course of learning this play, right, some of the actors drop out randomly, and then you have these people that come in that are like, "Oh, I've played that part before. I'll come in. I know the lines. I'll come in and just play that part." And then you go through and you're preparing to put on this play, and then the day that you're gonna put on this play, the original people come back and they just say, "Hey, we're ready to go." And then you make a snap decision. Oh, they're prettier, taller, whatever. We'll go ahead and let them be in there, and then you're gonna come out, and is that going to be the best production possible? Probably not. It's probably going to be a little lackluster, a little choppy, and a little predictably bad. And when you kind of mix that up, that's the sort of gumbo the Colts were serving up today was good and bad, right? Darius Leonard gets another turnover and almost had two. Isaiah Rodgers had a beautiful interception, and Colts defense almost had another. Um, and then really it came down to the Raiders did an efficient job, a little more efficient job of bottling up Jonathan Taylor than other teams had done. Still had 100 yards rushing, but like I said, at least that trope's gone. And then really, Carson Wentz was not wowing you with his pinpoint accuracy today, and I think he had to have it because there were some instances where some guys were wide open, and if you just throw an accurate football, a lot of people are also going to say like, oh, that the throw to Ty looks like Ty was looking for the first down. Well, you should communicate better. That are we going for the first down or the touchdown? If I'm wide the fuck open, you know what I mean? Like we should probably be talking about that. But I imagine that the Colts will sweep this loss under the rug because they're still in play for the playoffs. This is still a game that can be won. Like I said, they just got to do something they haven't done lately, and that's beat Jacksonville in Jacksonville. So enjoy the rest of the games this week. Again, this has been Jared Malott with Stampede Blue. This has been your Indianapolis Colts postgame wrap here in Week 17. And like I said, Happy New Year. Many blessings to you and your family. And like I said, we'll see you probably midweek for the Coltist, and then after next week's game for the postgame wrap. Bye, everybody.